Hi everyone, I'm Sophie Milburn, editor of the MSP Channel Insights portfolio, and today I'm joined by Josh from Namos Solutions. So could you introduce yourself, your role, and a little bit about the company?
Absolutely. So I'm Josh Ewing. I'm the VP of Managed Services at Namos Solutions, leading our eNlighten managed service practice. A little bit about Namos. So Namos is an award-winning Oracle consultancy and managed service provider. We only do Oracle. We were founded back in 2012 by our CEO, who's still running the company today, and the business has grown organically since then to where we are today, which is about 150 Oracle experts. We cover the full Oracle stack. So that's Fusion, ERP, HCM, Payroll, SCM, PaaS, IaaS, OCI, anything with an Oracle badge, really. I think one of the unique things about Namos is all of our people are onshore and based in the UK. So there's no offshoring. Everyone's based locally to our clients. We only do Oracle. We live and breathe Oracle, and Oracle runs our business. So all of our ways of working and our frameworks are designed specifically for Oracle. As I said, I lead our managed service practice eNlighten, and really our managed services is built around three pillars: stabilize, optimize, and innovate. And it's designed to align to where our clients are on their Oracle journey. So everyone's at a different place of where they are. Some people have just gone live. Some people have been live for a number of years and are really at that innovation stage. So it's that flexible model that's designed to meet everyone where they need us to work with them. And ultimately, our focus, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, over the next few moments, is it's not about keeping the lights on. Our focus is on helping organizations get real value from their Oracle investment. Um, we we like the fact that our clients see us as extensions of their internal teams. We're not a typical supplier. We're partners. We're part of the internal teams, really.
Fantastic. That was a great overview to start with. Thank you so much. So, Namos Solutions and Enlighten Managed Services emphasizes building user confidence and long-term value beyond kind of traditional break-fix support. So, how does this approach kind of differ from standard managed service delivery models, and what kind of advantages does that bring?
So I guess if you think about probably traditional MSPs, a lot of the focus is on break fix, is on SLAs, and it's on fast issue resolution and ticket closure. And we still do some of that, absolutely, right? But we do measure success differently as some of the things that you touched on there. So we don't just use SLAs to measure success. We use XLAs, which are user experience agreements, and VLAs, which are value level agreements. So in our world, an SLA will tell us that the service is running and it's running effectively and they've got a stable system. Fantastic. That's the base and everyone needs that.
Yeah.
But we use XLAs so we understand how the users have experienced the system. How effectively are they using the system? And then we use VLAs, value level agreements, to tell us whether actually the systems are delivering meaningful business outcomes.
Right.
We'll focus on that value. So the XLAs and VLAs, they're non-contractual by design because most of our agreements are multi-year contracts, and what a client wants from us at one moment is different from what they want from us in a year's time, 2 years' time. So typically, the XLAs and VLAs, they're reviewed quarterly and set quarterly. We don't set them for our clients. We set them jointly. It's really important for us that we're not second guessing what's really important for our clients, what matters most to them. So we set them quarterly with our clients. They're typically, certainly the VLAs are typically aligned to business KPIs, departmental goals. We always make them smart, and we'll always try and benchmark the before so we can measure the improvement afterwards. And I guess the advantage for that approach is the flexibility of setting them quarterly and aligning them to what matters to the business. Is we can align the service to what matters most to our clients at that moment in time.
Yeah.
And then the alignment to business outcomes, it's making sure our clients continue to see that demonstrable and measurable value from their investments.
Amazing. And you've mentioned quite a few of those kind of processes and frameworks, the XLAs, the SLAs, all of those things. How do those kind of maintain flexibility for different clients, and how might MSPs kind of adopt similar practices to improve their efficiency?
Yeah, so I guess the way we look at what we do is we're aligned to ITIL v4, right? So we've got that consistent framework across all our clients, and most people know what ITIL is. I don't think I need to explain that, but we get that sort of, the process, the ways of working, and the sort of the structure that ITIL brings and the managed service.
Mm.
but we've designed our service model to be component based. And
Yeah.
again, the commercial approach that comes with that. So our services are designed for what our clients need from us and what they want from us. It's not, you can have X, A, B, or C. It's component-based service model. So we will work with clients to design a service that they actually want rather than you can have a gold, silver, bronze or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, some of those frameworks, our service management framework is underpinned by ISO 27001. That's really important for us from a security perspective. And we're also proud that we were the first company, I think, globally to have Oracle's CMSP certification, which stands for Cloud Managed Service Provider. It had a previous name before CPSC, but we're really proud of that. And we think that underpins that external assurance that we are focused on doing the right things for our clients.
Yeah.
I think, again, back to that sort of flexibility, we've invested really, really heavily in making sure we've got the right tooling in place. So
Mhm.
last year, we did a big decision. We moved to Halo PSA. That gives us consistency in our workflows, our ways of working, reporting, and governance. And like everyone, we're starting to use automation and increasingly AI wherever possible.
Yeah.
We've partnered with the right people. Rapid for Cloud as an example. That helps us drive efficiencies and reduce human error for configuration and automated testing. So I guess back to your question, I guess key takeaway for MSPs, I would say standardize the how. How are you going to do it should be standardized across your client
Mhm.
base. Absolutely embrace automation and AI wherever possible, um,
Yeah.
but stay flexible on the what. Really
Yeah.
important that that's flexible and you've got the right governance in place that can, those different service models can all be serviced in the right way.
Amazing. And you mentioned there cybersecurity and you mentioned AI and all the things that are kind of coming up. What do you have any advice maybe for MSPs to kind of stay agile and resilient with so much rapid change that's happening?
I think there's always been change, right? The technology landscape is always changing. I think what we're seeing now is that's changing at a velocity that we've probably not seen before, and I think that will continue to happen. If I take a step back, certainly in our world,
Mm.
I think SaaS to start with sort of fundamentally started to shift that managed service landscape.
Yeah.
If we think about our relationships with our clients, service relationships were typically IT led. And focus back to what we spoke about earlier, focus was on uptime and on SLAs.
Mhm.
Whereas today, I think the business units, the people using the systems actually have a far greater voice and say in those outcomes and what value means to them.
Yeah.
We see it best, if I'm honest, where we're working with clients that have got both the business engaged to drive that value and the business KPIs and that, but
Mm.
also for the IT function as well, for the governance that the IT functions bring to that party. So we really see it working really well when working with the business and IT functions of our clients. um, but as we said, technology doesn't stand still, right? The current evolution and advancement in AI, it's staggering, but that's not going to stop, right? It's just going to get faster and faster.
Mm.
So what does that mean? So AI is accelerating expectations, I think, for everyone. We're probably all starting to use Chat GPT, Copilot, whatever your favorite tool is in our personal lives. But it's impacting business. Clients want faster resolutions. We've already started to embed AI and automation, as I said, into our ways of working to reduce manual effort. But I think we need to be mindful to do it where it makes sense to do so, not doing it just because. I think
Yeah.
more importantly, we're helping our clients now, certainly in the Oracle space, understand what Oracle's AI capabilities that can be applied to their business. Looking at real world use cases, some of those adoption considerations and challenges, because there's the nervousness around enabling some of this stuff.
Mm.
And that's just going to continue as evolve. Oracle announced last week or week before agentic applications. So it's not just AI agents, it's whole applications now that are agentic. So yeah, it's fast moving. I think from our experience, um, we just try to share that practical insight. So we run Oracle ourselves as a business. So we switch these things on quite early to understand how they work. So for me, helping customers explore how it can be used to drive that innovation, but ultimately focus on that business value.
Yeah, and a really, really important conversation that I've been having around this as well, with so much change happening. It's moving from kind of that reactive model to that proactive model and trying to kind of stay ahead of the games and, predict things and all of those things. What kind of advice do you have around that kind of moving to more of a proactive model?
I think firstly, there's a mindset shift.
Mm,
So again, but back to what I spoke about a little bit earlier about, the impact of SaaS. There's the world now of continuous updates, new features being deployed. Transformation doesn't stop at go live anymore.
no.
You clients, customers, they won't get their expected returns on investment if they don't continue to adopt new functionality. You've got to keep up with the pace. I mean, we took a step back and changed the whole way we deliver managed services to be value driven and focus on client outcomes. And that's all designed to help clients, what I call, embrace living in the cloud.
Mm,
So that ongoing transformation work doesn't stop. It's continuous innovation. We don't really look at things from a technology up perspective anymore.
no.
We invest heavily in talking to our clients to understand their business, not just their systems. Conversations with clients are sort of moved to, you know, how's your business performance? Are you hitting your departmental KPIs? What are your frustrations from a business point of view? We've built structured touch points like quarterly business reviews, focused
Mm,
on outcomes. We'll proactively bring ideas and look at what new functionality may benefit them, but that's all focused on what's important to them. Unless we understand what's important to the client, we don't know what to recommend.
yeah.
I would say having the right roles and the right people is absolutely key. So, not only do we have named service delivery managers who, know our clients' businesses really well, we provide what we call service solution advisors.
Mm,
So these are named people. They act as experts in their field and their technology, but they work closely with our clients to understand our clients' business, understand their business processes. They're the people that are really key to driving some of that innovation and unlocking the real value for our clients. So
mm,
again, advice, I think it's that mindset shift from not just keeping the lights on, moving away almost from being a resolver to being an advisor, and a trusted advisor is where we like to see ourselves with our customers.
fantastic. And I feel like we have slightly covered this, but I'll give you the chance anyway. With kind of looking into the future, I guess, what do you see changing in the landscape, particularly for those working with cloud platforms like Oracle? What do you kind of see happening that maybe hasn't happened yet?
So I guess I'd summarize probably some of the conversations you alluded to that we've already had. So
Yeah.
I think managed services is becoming far more value led and less ticket driven.
Yeah.
AI and automation, is ultimately going to reduce the volume of traditional work.
Mm,
I think clients will expect their partners to guide them through that journey of continuous innovation and transformation, not just provide support. I think it's really important that that combination of having deep technology expertise, Oracle in our example, and being agile and staying close to your customers to understand what matters most to them will become more and more important. I actually think that if you look at a traditional SI versus MSP, I think those lines are already blurring. I think they'll continue to blur. And the reason for that is the ongoing transformation and work continuous innovation. Those lines are blurred, and that's what clients need from their partners. So ultimately, MSPs that don't evolve beyond that reactive support, I think are going to struggle to stay relevant in the marketplace.
I feel like I could sit and talk to you about this all day, but I won't take up any more of your time. So thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sophie. Great to chat.